No, that's something else.
Ambient.
Sorry.
Hello. Hey everybody, it's StarCast, Star Citizen Podcast. Welcome. Tonight we are joined with Perfekt Nerd, Trendane, and Core of Existence. Or just Core. So, what's been going on, fellas?
Not much.
Nothing at all?
Just chilling.
Just chilling.
Yes, just chilling.
Well, I've been... Go ahead.
trying not to kill my neighbors. Just
Yeah, Trendane just put a video out just a few minutes ago where his neighbor was doing sounded like he was grinding some metal or something like that.
He might have been feeding a beagle into a wood chipper. I'm not sure.
Could be beagle in the wood chipper. Okay, Core, what's up with you?
Wedding planning.
Wedding planning, which is exciting. Not so much for the guy.
Nope.
No.
Just go with it.
Mr. Foster, you did not miss anything.
Takes up so much time, man.
Yeah.
Let's go pick out these things. Okay,
see,
honey.
that's after like 3 weddings in my family with all my older siblings getting married. I've learned that you're just supposed to, as the guy, you're just supposed to go with it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's her day.
Don't resist.
Do whatever you can afford. Just get it. Just don't go too nuts because it's over in a minute, and you're like, holy crap, there was 20 grand or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, be careful. All right, so what's going on? What's up?
Well, I was going to say, so if the wedding is her day, what is his day?
Well, I guess the day right before the wedding.
Maybe.
Bachelor night.
Yeah,
I don't
bachelor
know.
night.
The day he dies.
Congratulations, you survived this long.
You receive a prize. Sweet relief.
Sweet relief.
And now an eternity in hell.
Welcome to the club.
You were saying, Domo, before I...
No, I was just saying, not too much going on with Star Citizen this week. So we're actually, one of the other things we wanted to mention is we've been told that our podcast was too long, and they were yelling at us. So we're going to try to cut this back to just an hour instead of 4 hours, if that's possible. I don't know if it is possible because we have a tendency to ramble. We're like a Zeppelin tune.
Because we already started with...
We're not that good.
Yeah, we're not that good.
You can listen to a Zeppelin tune for 4 hours.
You can.
Comfortably.
Yeah. A little bit of a update. I have now signed a thing with SoundCloud. If you guys are familiar with it, it's a place where musicians put their music up. And they have a new program they're starting for podcasters, and I'm in the beta program for it. So I'm going to be putting all of these podcasts on SoundCloud, which means that I'll be able to put them on my website in a really cool, snazzy player, and you'll be able to download it right from there. So for those of you who are really into listening to the audio-only version of our dulcet tones, you can do that right from our SoundCloud page. So I'll have a link in the description below. So, very exciting stuff.
But then you won't get to see our faces.
Our beautiful faces.
Our beautiful
You know
beards.
No, not go there, Trent.
Our
All
beards,
right.
our beards are much more important.
Okay, so topic number 1. Updates from last week. While we were doing these topics real quick, get your guys go ahead and think about what you want to talk about the updates. But remember the brackets. So if you're in the audience right now and you're watching and you would like to ask a question, all you have to do is type in the question type the word question in brackets, and then we can flag that for later and grab it up for our Q&A session, which will be coming up a lot quicker this time than last week. Yep, just like that. Blah, blah.
Blah.
Okay, so topic number 1, updates from last week. So what's new? with Star Citizen and Cloud Imperium Games?
So, like you said, it's been a pretty quiet week overall. We did hit 26 million, or 25 million rather, which got us the enhanced alpha. So we can talk about this a little bit, actually. So the idea was that the big expansion of the alpha was actually a geographic expansion. So now Europe and Australia will get better servers. And they'll get servers at the same time that North America was. And I actually didn't realize that there was going to be a staggered alpha release. I thought that it was going to be worldwide all at once, but I guess that would be really difficult to do.
Yeah.
But that's great for... Yeah, very difficult to pull off. But that's great for our European and Aussie citizens. I think it's really awesome.
Absolutely.
Now, is that for Star Citizen itself and Squadron 42, or because for those people who don't want to do Squadron 42, do they have to wait? Or
I'm pretty sure it's just for the alpha stuff, so just the dogfighting module.
Oh, okay, right.
So they'll get to get in when everybody else gets in, and I think that'll make for a much more robust feedback experience for the team, since they'll have because I think the European market, to be honest, is probably where the most valuable feedback is going to come from, because they have the most dedicated and regular space sim community in the world, as far as I know. North America, not so much. We're into ego shooters, as the Germans call them. And yeah, so I think it's pretty great that Europeans are going to get in on the action early.
And also, probably a lot more likely that you get more quality bugs from Europeans as opposed to most Americans that I know of who would enter bugs that say, "Well, this sucks. It doesn't work."
Yep.
In what way?
Just throw everything out the window. It's worthless.
There was also a couple updates. Let's see. There was... So we're going to actually talk about each one of these things in turn. But there was a new... Great. I just opened the page and it went back too far. What was the other thing that came up this week? It was the... not the press roundup. Oh. The Galactic Guide for Klaus and Werner.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes.
Yep.
So they broke down the Klaus and Werner, which is very much like Heckler and Koch Fast Me.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact,
Yeah,
now I read the lore about this, and the main character, the main brainchild of this company came from is Hector Klaus, which is H&K. So, if you're familiar with that gun company, they make fantastic weapons. And so they break down the CF series, mass drivers, small arms, and it's all on the Robert Space Industries website. So you can check that out if you're interested in the lore for those particular guns. And do either one of you guys or any of you guys know which ships start out with the CF series, Klaus and Werner?
There's a couple of ships that start off with the CF 117 Bulldog repeater. But from the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
either.
I can't remember either. Let's see if I can find it.
And I never knew.
They
Luvox says the LN.
The Aurora LN has it.
Yeah,
Starts off with it.
Thanks, Luvox.
They really have to update the ship specs.
Yeah, they're all out of
they
whack.
do. They're
That's
so
why I'm-
outdated.
This is ridiculous.
The biggest complaint right now is actually the Caterpillar, because if you look at the Caterpillar, it has almost the exact same specs as the Freelancer, yet
Yeah.
it's double the price and twice as big, which makes no sense. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to do a ship video for each ship, and I'm holding off because it's so out of whack right now.
Yes.
If I was to try to do that, I think I could probably safely do the Aurora, maybe, but
Well, yeah, you've got the guides for the Auroras and for the Hornets, so you can work off the guides and ignore the ship specs page.
Mhm.
But everything that doesn't have a brochure is going to have the issue Are you going to post the ship specs from the ship specs page, which are probably completely wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Get around to fixing that.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty much it. Like we were saying, it's a pretty quiet week. Not much excitement going on over there.
Which is
Change.
unusual for whenever they hit a milestone.
Yeah. They did.
Well,
they hit 25 million during from
the-
last episode. We hit 25 million.
Oh.
Yeah. Wasn't, and the new milestone for 27 million isn't particularly exciting, but
Well, the 27 million one is. I mean, come on. It's a trading ship. It's a new ship.
it's a new ship. But it's not like I think the enhanced capital ship one is a little more exciting. But speaking of news, I don't know if we mentioned it last week. I didn't see, but we did. They did start recording music with the Capellan Orchestra in the Czech Republic last Friday. They had their first recording session. It's because we hit that $6 million stretch goal in like the first, half an hour of crowdfunding or whatever it was.
I think I've heard that orchestra before.
They have some. There's in the general chat area of the forums. They do have some samples there, and they are fantastic.
I think
really
one of
awesome.
them was from Oblivion. I think one of the pieces that I heard from that was from the Oblivion soundtrack. Sorry, different game.
That's great. Having a full orchestra doing the sound is going to be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's okay when some games they do it all with their keyboard, which is good, but seeing or hearing a real orchestra do the sound effect is going to be awesome.
Well, you have some of those concert pianists or, what do you call the people that write stuff?
Composers.
Composers, there you go. Some of those composers have either really, really high-end pianos, and then it becomes really hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're paying,
Embodiment.
you're paying 10K or 7K for a piano?
Shrivasta, hola, perfect nerd, Turndane, and Domo. So Shrivasta is helping us. She's found somebody for us. We might have them next week. Had a little bit of a problem this week, but we'll get that sorted. So, shout out to Shrivasta. Thanks a lot for all your help. Okay, so let's move on to topic number dos. Halfway to $26 million. So what do we think this is going to do? I mean, when is it going to stop? Like, we're going so quickly. I mean, it's only been not even a week. We've gone 25 to now halfway through 26.
I think the way that they're doing it right now is because we've already commented before, is that they really ran out of stretch goals at around the 18 million mark.
Yeah.
And I think since then they've had a couple of people working on it. Every time we hit a stretch goal, they're thinking 2 or 3 stretch goals ahead, and then trying to plan it in. You've got specific product managers / project managers that can probably plan that in. But as you can also see, they're not introducing expansive systems anymore.
Right. Little things.
They might do that at the 30 million mark, where they say, okay, well, all these little things that we've just given you, they only cost like 1 million. But the next thing that we're going to give you is going to be really huge.
Maybe it's like a whole new star system or a set of star systems, like 10 new star systems. Something that would take a long time and a lot of money to develop.
Yeah, I mean that's really the thing. They're paying for what we're paying for now is stuff that was already planned for later on in the development cycle post-release. But we're just moving it up because we're giving them resources to be able to hire people to do this stuff.
And of course, we should be keeping in mind that they're currently in transition to the new Austin office, so that's probably why it's been a little bit quiet on our side.
Right.
They're moving to New Austin. That's in the Ellis system.
What?
You said New Austin.
No, I said the new office in Austin.
No, you said the New Austin office.
Fine, I said something wrong.
No, it's not
right.
You said it right, but it's just funny because it's sort of like in the game.
Okay, well, anyway, you get where I was going with that, but that's probably why it's a little bit quiet on that front.
Yeah, they're very busy.
I'm sure they are.
So how quickly did we get to halfway to 26? Let me go look at the page here.
It took about a day and a half.
A day and a half.
Yeah.
How much did they make yesterday?
They made 161,000.
$161,000. So this brings up something that has come up in the news recently, and we could talk about it now because it actually directly relates to this. The SEC here in America, the Security and Exchange Commission, has come up with a new ruling that any new crowdfunding that is happening in the future, that after this law gets passed, if it gets passed, will have a maximum limit of $1 million annual.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to put a cap on any of the larger projects. So things like Project Eternity, and anything basically that any one of those huge Kickstarter projects, pretty much all of them would not have happened if the SEC had not basically delayed a year before enacting these provisions. And they've already passed, so this stuff is already in place. There's 90 days for.
I thought they were trying to get the law passed. I didn't realize it was already through.
Passed. Yes.
FCC is not going to waste time. By the time they post information, it's already done.
Yep, and there's 90 days for public comment as usual, so you can actually send them complaints or whatever.
Instagrams.
Exactly.
It doesn't affect Star Citizen though, because this is a grandfathered in, like anything that's already been funded or is currently being funded is grandfathered in. But I don't know from the year point if it would be if they only allow them to do 1 million for the next year, it's going to stop everything. I mean, $1 million right now.
That's the question. Is it still going to count as crowdfunding at this point? Because Kickstarter, yes, is a crowdfunding project in itself. But right now, is it still crowdfunding? Because we're just buying stuff from them now.
Right. It's a really good point, and it's going to force companies to move to technically be in Hong Kong. They're not really. Anywhere outside the U.S.
Basically.
They're gonna do their Kickstarter campaign from Hong Kong. But
here's.
Can
they do that?
Yes, I was looking at a couple of different business ventures years ago, and one of them, there's this thing in Hong Kong. It's a completely amazing service that they will do because Hong Kong has all these massive protections for businesses in it, that you can pay somebody literally to be like a guy who sits in an office that is your official office phone number and everything, and it was only like $2,500 a year. And while that seems like a lot of money, it pays for somebody to be there as your official company representative who could then call you and say, hey, they're asking this or whatever.
That's nothing. $2,500 for a year's salary for somebody, and like renting an office space.
Yep.
Setting up a shell company in Europe would not be that much work either. I mean, you'd have minimal staff there. Just call it your headquarters and go from there.
Yeah,
that's what they're going to have to do. The SEC's like shooting themselves in the foot, to be quite honest.
Well, it's not necessarily shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Yeah, exactly. They're just trying to make sure that they're trying to tax people for this kind of stuff, right? Crowdfunding, by and large, is beyond taxation because people aren't investors, right? Yep. They're technically making donations or something. It's weird. It's like this weird middle ground that they have, and so because of that, their holdings in say Star Citizen or whatever, your 250 to 100, some people have thousands of dollars invested in the game already. That stuff is not an investment and therefore can't be taxed. And they want to tax this stuff. Now here's my question.
Okay. If
you move, say you set up a shell company in Hong Kong, and would you have to? What would Kickstarter do? Because Kickstarter is an American company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kickstarter would probably move to Hong Kong. Just saying.
Right. I mean, they'd have to, and so would you have to accept donations in the Chinese yen, or?
I mean, think of it like Pirate Bay, right? Pirate Bay started in the U.S. Technically. I mean, it was still not non-U.S. guys that founded it, but it moved all over the place.
It constantly moves.
Depending on which country altered their laws to the point where, okay, we're not allowed to do it here anymore. Okay, we'll go over there. And for them, it was like a computer case and a guy walking around with it, and that was their whole operation.
Yeah.
So for them it wasn't a big deal. But look at other major companies in the world where there is a good opportunity, where there's cheap labor, where there are cheap laws. That's where the companies are going to go. I mean, it's a big thing that I know in Hollywood right now is that most of the TV shows and movies are now being shot in New Mexico because the shooting laws on shooting a movie, or the taxes there, are like 3 times as low than in California. So they're like, all right, we'll just shoot it in New Mexico and, make that the new Hollywood. So companies are always going to seek whatever's most beneficial to them. Exactly.
Yes.
And absolutely. If they're going to pass this law, and they have already, what you're going to see is no more crowdfunding under the United States flag. But it's not going to stop crowdfunding.
No. You might even move out. What do you think, Trent?
This also kind of. Well, I was thinking that we've been saying that this whole thing is entirely new territory, and the laws need to catch up to it. They are going to make some stupid laws in the process of trying to figure out how this is supposed to work. There will be some absolute stinkers that are going to come up in the catch-up process.
That's why they have this 90-day period for people to comment on this stuff. So I guess if you're listening to this podcast, make sure your voice is heard. If you are an American citizen, you have the right to complain to the SEC for whatever they pass. So go do that.
And also, don't forget, if you look at that current law that they passed, it says specifically that a company cannot receive more than $1 million a year, even though they might be getting crowdfunded $100 million. Basically, what that means is, think of it, if you own a company or have owned a company or have worked in the accounting division of a company, you'll know that if you buy something as a company, you will need to pay it back to your, basically what you're doing is every year you're paying back a lump sum of that product. You're not buying the full product, you're buying it in pieces, so that the IRS, I believe you guys call it, can tax every single step that you purchase every year, because you're writing it off, as it were. And this way, they're receiving 4 or 5 times the amount of money than they would if it was a single purchase. And that's the exact same thing that they want to do for crowdfunding.
There's so many workarounds that I can think of, though, for this law. I mean, either they could crowdfund, they could have pledges that are more than $1 million, and then just release the funds $1 million a year at a time, or they could extend a loan for the full amount, just keep the funds as the principal. I mean, and they could do it through a bank. There's like 50 million ways to get around this law.
And they probably will change it. Yeah, I mean, they won't change the law. The people are be able to change quickly. So watching this person behind Trendane. Sorry.
Yeah, he's dropping off more candy.
Oh, very good.
Oh, sorry.
Nice.
Okay.
It's okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, so on to topic number 3, the expanded capital ships. While we are talking about this topic, everybody, please drop in some questions so we can do our questions and answer session. And, yeah. So, expanded capital ships, which is part of the $26 million goal. Right?
Yes.
$26 million stretch goal. And fill me in on this. I'm not that up on what all this means. I know that there's supposed to be some sort of like way you can block off the bulkheads and things, but...
Well, if you've ever played FTL, that's basically where they ripped off the entire system from.
I have not, so fill me in.
Right. FTL is a small little... a top-down tactical game where you control your spaceship. Now, you can open doors, you can close doors. If there's a fire, you might have to vent the atmosphere. You might have to send in guys to combat that with fire extinguishers. You have to have people manning gunning consoles to have more effect. You need a pilot to dodge things. And basically, it comes down to it's micromanaging a ship, and at the same time, dealing with random encounters and stuff like that. And basically what they've spoken about in the stretch goal specifically is that they're going to expand the capital ship functions, like, for instance, lead a damage control team to fight fires and repair key systems, control internal bulkheads to slow boarders, and man a number of consoles. That's literally what I just said about FTL. And that's it. That's all they've commented on it. Other than that, they haven't released a lot of information on it.
Yeah, I think the general idea is just to make it more intense, fighting in a capital ship, so that people have specific duties, and I think it'll actually be really, really awesome if part of your effectiveness as a fleet is your ability to coordinate with like multiple capital ships together, and then like you'd have like comms officers who were in charge of making sure that the fleet was coordinated and that orders were properly relayed. And if you had drones in battle, you would have like somebody just controlling drones. I mean, there's just so many different possibilities for how awesome that could be in large-scale warfare.
I mean, let's say you have a Bengal and you have 768 crew. It'd be kind of stupid if 50 of them or 70 of them man consoles and the other 700 just stand there going,
twiddling their thumbs,
just waiting for people to invade.
Yeah,
You
I
just
mean,
keep
and
them in
that's
stasis.
that's one of the nice things that they're doing in that regard is is making it really easy for people to just drop in, especially with we were talking about a few weeks ago with the with your secondary characters being able to be NPCs, or you could have having other people drop in as your secondary characters on your ship to crew.
Right. That sounds very, very interesting.
Yeah, so I think it'll be. I can imagine like massive battles with people just screaming at each other across like the deck of a Bengal. It'd be pretty awesome.
Well, they've already also commented on the way that instancing is going to work. So the way that we imagine it will be, let's say you have 1,000 ships flying around in Idris. They're going to compartmentalize each part of the Idris so that every single battle will have to do with parts of the Bengal carrier in the instance, but not the entire ship, which kind of sounds weird, because is that going to mean that there's going to be a wall where you can't fly around because you can't get to the other side of the Bengal? But yeah, anyway, how that's all going to work out, we're going to have to see. Yeah,
I mean, especially considering that if they have instancing limits at, say, like, 80 ships or something like that, what does that mean? Does that mean 80 Bengals, or 80, or 2 Bengals and 53 Hornets? Like, does 5 Hornets equal 1 Bengal carrier? Like, what exactly does that mean? In terms
there might even be a special ruling for capital ship battles that we don't know yet, because what I just explained, that was the way instancing was talked about way a long time ago. So way back in the day it was talked about like that. But since then, capital ships have evolved a little bit, so we don't know whether or not we'll actually see a capital ship in an instance, or if capital ships will fight with other capital ships in a completely separate environment, like for instance in PU.
Yeah, that'd be really weird though.
What if the ship's an instance itself?
One capital ship generates an entire instance, and there's a battle around a capital ship, or 2 capital ships at most.
Exactly, but then the question is, like, what would be the point of bringing 4 destroyers to 1 Bengal carrier?
There wouldn't be in a separate instance.
Yeah, exactly. But you see the issue here, because you're like, well, we're gonna blow this Bengal down with overwhelming firepower, and then when it turns out you've got three destroyers just standing there going, well, our 4th destroyer is currently fighting the Bengal. We hear it's not going that well,
and then we'll take the next person's turn to come in and die.
Yes, queue up to fight the Bengal, right?
It'd just be hilarious incompetence all over the universe. Just like, coordinate the fleet, and there's like 3 people jump in like a completely random location. Like 50 clicks, it's like, we can see the rest of our fleet getting annihilated over there. We can't do anything about it. There's an invisible wall.
Yeah, exactly. But again, how that's going to... Well, it might even be that we can't see them. We just know that, oh, you guys are doing battle right now. Okay. Well, I can hear you guys on TeamSpeak, so I can hear you telling me that there's a battle. I don't see anything. I mean, just flying here in the persistent universe, admiring my ship. But what have you guys done? Oh, no, we're about to lose. Okay, that's fine. They lose. You get into the instance, and now you're like, well, you guys have to wait now. It's my turn. It's like ridiculous.
It's like line warfare.
Yes, again, we're going to have to see how that all works out. And
yeah, we have no idea. This is all theory crafting at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. What do you think there, Mr. Trendane? Any thoughts?
Part of it started sounding very similar to how the limitations on how much tonnage can pass through a wormhole in Eve before it destabilizes and collapses is somehow kind of what it sounded like to me. It's like, how do you justify, whether you take 4 big ships or 50 little ones, through to this instance or that kind of thing is what it started sounding like to me there for a minute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No doubt they're going to have to balance it somehow. And I hope they do some capital ship balancing during the dogfighting alpha. At some point, they introduce capital ships into the mix so that they can actually start testing that. Because that's really, I mean...
what would be interesting to see... Sorry to interrupt. What would be interesting to see is if they split apart capital ships and the regular ships to, like, at a certain point, like a cutoff point, like you would do in War Thunder, where, tier 10 ships can't fight with tier 1 ships in a regular battle.
Right, yeah.
And they do a cutoff like that. Because 1,000 ships are porting in, some of them are cap and some of them are low, which would make it really interesting because then a Bengal, right? A Bengal and a destroyer pair against like 5 destroyers could potentially still take out the 5 destroyers because they've got a fuck ton of fighters sitting on the Bengal.
Yeah.
So, again, how they're going to balance that and how it's going to work out, it's difficult to judge, but it might make sense they would have the capital ships do battle rather than have 99 Hornets with 1 capital ship.
Right.
And then,
Lumavac says, can you tell me where you heard that? I just wanted to answer this right now before we got too far because that would make no sense later on. So,
where we heard what specifically? About the instancing?
Yes.
That was talked about like right near the beginning. They talked about a lot of the instancing stuff near the beginning, but a lot of that, like Core was saying, a lot of that stuff has changed now. That stuff is at least 8 months old.
Oh, he was asking about the question in the chat. Sorry. All right.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in the Q&A. They aren't going to wipe the beta after it's officially released. Yeah, they're not. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
When we get to Q&A.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
Well, actually, we are going to Q&A right now. So.
I was going to say we're down to 20 minutes. So.
Yep. Moving on to Q&A time. We don't have 1,000 questions either this time, so we'll make it. All right. So the first question is from Iron Man 2140. Question: How will fast? Sorry, it has will twice here. How will fast time cycles be in this game? How fast will time cycles be in this game? I.e., will a day go by in the game the same rate as in real time, standard day, or will it be slightly accelerated to 6 or 12 hours equal to 1 day? Thoughts?
There's no sun.
I would say that
there's millions.
I would say that they just pick a random point and just start counting from then. But whether or not they make an hour a minute, or they make an in-game minute is an hour in real life, or whatever, the way you want to scale it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, whatever a fixed number you assign to it, you're in space. It's not going to matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, it always made me wonder about like Star Trek. They're traveling around the universe and they seem to all be on the same 24-hour clock. It's like, well, and there almost is 100% guaranteed that there's no planet out there that's the same distance away from the sun as ours, that's taking exactly 1 year to go around the sun and rotates at 24-hour interval. It's just a nearly impossibility.
My biggest pet peeve was actually that a highly trained Starfleet crew was not working on like a Damaxian sleep cycle or anything like that. They were all on the 16 to 8 sleep cycles like you would do in real. in real life. But again, you're in space, you're highly trained.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you have a specialized sleep cycle where you minimize your sleeping to the minimal required amount? But again, whatever, biggest pet peeve of Starfleet.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make sense either. I mean, you'd think that with no sun for reference, your body's sleep cycle would naturally adapt and change
to whatever you're on. Yeah.
I mean, and they might do something like use Galactic Center as some sort of baseline for time, where you have like regular pulsations or something, and that's.
Iron Man says as a follow-up, he's asking because of the ship model years and will the characters die natural deaths?
I have a feeling that the way that they're gonna do the years once we're in the game is that we'll have these natural time skips where it's not so much that a month is a year, but every single patch, it's like you go forward in technology a few decades.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to go more along that line than they will in actual terms of years. Because, again, with the medical technology that exists, your body can only technically die if you get shot in the head like 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you're not going to really die of old age because, let's say, your body is now showing signs of cancer. You revert to an older clone, and you're like, yeah, it's fine, it's gone now. So whether or not natural death is something that'll occur is another question that hasn't really been asked. I believe it has been asked, or that it hasn't been answered, or that I just missed it. But I believe natural death will not be a thing.
Right.
Yeah, it won't be. I mean, for gameplay, too. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense that your character can die. You just log in one day, it's like, sorry, you had a heart attack, you died.
What do you think, Trendane? What are your thoughts on the whole time phenomena of space travel?
Having done the narration for the Terra system, I think that probably the clock on Prime, well, in Prime on Terra 3 would be at least Terra would be pushing for, we're the center of the Empire, we should be the source of all of its time. And then Earth would say, no, we are the center of the Empire, and we have been the center of time since humans have fucking lived, so shut up. We're going by Greenwich Mean Time. I don't care how many centuries it's been. So there would be some contest between that. And then...
Well, it's always been said in the past that if you look at like the atom clocks that you use now, I mean, they get started at a certain time. They get, but say you take them into space with you, they're still ticking on Earth time.
Yeah.
But technically, that time has no significance other than to keep track of how many minutes have passed.
And okay, let's throw this little wrench into the equation here. How are we going to travel from point to point? We're going to use Einstein-Rosenberg bridges, right? No?
Well,
whatever.
Okay, so you know what happens when you go through that? What happens to time?
Well, Einstein-Rosen-Podolsky Bridge are the biggest load of bullshit in the history of science, which is why it has been used in science fiction over and over and over and over and over again.
It's a perfectly plausible
No, it's not.
Phenomena.
No,
it's one of those things that if you see someone talking about it in a serious context, you just have to look at them and go.
It was on Eureka like every week.
I know, but the Einstein-Rosen-Podolsky Bridge was the biggest load of crock there was. But it was thought out to the point where where a TV series could go, hey, this is thought out really well. It does say at the end that it's complete bullshit, but if we ignore that part and take the 99% that has been theorized, we'll take that and put it into the equation.
It works perfectly as soft science. It really does.
Okay, so then let's just pretend we'll go along that argument that it's soft science. The time when you go through the portal, your time gets compressed, right? So you come out on the other side technically older than when you went in. But I mean, you stay the same age, but the rest of the timeline shifts.
You mean you mean as time goes on, you can just go back into an old clone body? Is that
no.
You would be the same age, but time would shift.
Time shifts.
Yes.
So that throws everything off. You come out the other side, it's 6 months later, and you were gone in a blink of an eye.
Well, yeah, but that
So
you know
you
that
would-
sort of stuff happens in movies all the time, where you know, they disappear for like 5 seconds in a time machine or whatever, and for them 2 seconds will have passed, but for everyone else, you know, 10 years will have passed. And that, you know, again, as soft science, it works, but as when the math actually comes in, it turns out it doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah.
No,
It's all
you'd
relative,
have
and
to-
that's
Exactly. That's the problem. I mean, as soon as you'd leave the bridge, you'd have to have some sort of system on your ship that recalibrates your galactic standard time and date to figure out when the hell you are.
So we're just going to say that these jump points have some other sort of magical properties where you jump through them and
Yes.
time stays the same when you get to the other side.
If it's, you know, what we could go with is that they're just what's it called, particle bridges, where you get dematerialized on one side, stored in the center,
Teleporter, yeah.
teleported to the other side, and restructured on the other side. But then again, that raises the question: is the person that gets created on the other side you, or?
No, it's not. It's not. It's your atomic level. It's the atomic level reconstruction, and then you have all of the.
But you die on
This
one
is how
side.
cults. This is how cults rise. This is how you get cults. Okay. People are like, oh, then is your personality you? How do you know you're you? How do you know your memories are real? And
I'm going to start pouring lemonade for us all. Kool-Aid, I mean.
I'm going to get my jumpsuit on. My jogging suit, I mean. All right. Let's move on to the next one, I guess, because we could talk for days.
yeah, I think so.
All right, next question. Will we see these systems trickle into smaller crewed ships?
In reference to the capital ship system.
In reference to the capital ships, okay. Like a freelancer, you mean?
That was what I was thinking of, because that's going to be the ship I'm going to be piloting.
Me too,
if that
yeah.
makes sense.
Unless I get...
I think to a lesser extent it will be, but you're not. If there's a fire in your in your cargo hold in the freelancer, what you do is you just vent the cargo hole and you lose all your cargo and everything that's in there.
Mhm.
But at least the fire won't spread. But I don't think you're really gonna grab the fire extinguisher, leave your pilot seat, and start fighting the fire on your own. I don't really
Well,
see that.
I'm sure you
There's
could
gotta be a way to
probably-
lock down your cargo.
That's
Yeah.
what I was going to say. You can vent the atmosphere without having to blow the hatch. I mean, and lose all the stuff. However, if whatever is in there is something that is, combustible enough that even if it doesn't produce flame, it still goes into an incendiary plasmid state and keeps burning, then it might be a little more difficult.
Your white phosphorus or something.
Basically, yeah.
Mhm.
Even without
Yeah.
oxygen, it'll keep burning.
Right.
So depending on what you're transporting, it could be very, very different.
Or
But-
there could be other things in there that when you dump the atmosphere, now you have no pressure in there and it could cause canisters to explode or...
Yeah, which raises
Marshmallows.
another
Mhm,
Marshmallows.
which raised another very interesting topic that was on the forums a long time ago, which is the volatility levels on cargo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it going to be dangerous transporting certain cargo, like maybe radiation related, where you can only have it on board for a certain amount of time, regardless of the protection that your ship has against it. But if you've got it on your ship for more than an hour, your balls are going to fall off.
Wow.
What if
I'm
you're-
sure
what if you're-
they have to have designed like specific cargo containers. And then here's the thing. Then you introduce like black market mechanics, because
Exactly.
you might have to legitimately like purchase like special containers for it and have them registered and all that, and it's gonna cut into your profits.
Yep.
Or you could just put it in a cardboard box on an empty.
And not tell anybody what it is.
Exactly.
And just pray that you're not shipping it with any kind of live poultry or anything.
Right. Exactly.
It comes out with 6 wings on the other side.
Exactly. Hey.
You arrive at your destination. You hand over the small cardboard boxes of chickens that you have, and they open the box, and like all these face huggers jump out.
Yeah. It could happen. All right. We got to ramble on here. We're almost out of time.
Yep.
Next question. Opinions. Should I get a Cutlass or a Freelancer?
What do you want to do?
I think this side of the room is going to say Freelancer.
Depends on
But
what
it
he
depends
wants to
on
do.
what they want to do. Yeah. So, are you going to be a trucker, space trucker, or are you going to be a combat type person? What do you guys think? Perfekt Nerd and Core. You guys more in the Cutlass side, aren't you?
Well, I'll be completely honest. I did not get a Cutlass. The one thing that it has going for it is that it'll be highly maneuverable. But
are the quotes required for that?
Yes, the quotes are required for that because if you look at the ship specs, they don't really read highly maneuverable.
They don't.
Yeah. But again, ship specs are old and outdated and wrong. But again, the way that it reads, like the actual conversation, like it's supposed to be like a militia type ship, so it won't be spec'd to the highest ability of combat. It won't be spec'd to the. Think of it as like the evil twin of the Avenger. You know, it's gonna have some of the capabilities that most ships are gonna have, but at the end of the day, it's like a multi-purpose, multi-role ship. So if you want to have that for, like, I don't know, your universal role, then it makes sense. But if you want to do more exploration, more cargo, more, flying around and having fun and doing what the other people on the other side of the room are doing, then you're probably your best bet as a freelancer. Harris?
Get whatever you want. If you want a freelancer, get a freelancer. If you want a Cutlass, then get a Cutlass. I mean, how are you going to play the game? It all depends. If you like piracy and smuggling and that kind of that ship feeling, or do you want like a gas tanker or something that'll really get you started in making a lot of money? It's up to you.
And then there's the Robert Space Industries answer, which is buy them all.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Buy them all. Buy them twice.
It's always good to have
your entire paycheck.
Yeah.
You don't need it. You don't need to live anywhere. You don't need to eat. Just give us all your money.
Just stay on your ship.
Sorry, Shavasta just put a link up for a Google Doc. Doesn't
which we
work.
Can't see.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I clicked on it and it didn't work. Sorry, Shavastas. Maybe check that back.
You might have to make it public. I think we skipped one question by Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we did. So Iron Man 2140. Another question. I heard that they aren't going to wipe the beta after it's officially released. How much impact do you think this will have?
And this should probably be the last question.
Yeah, it should be the last question. This will be it. We'll wrap it up with this one.
Okay.
I think it'll have a lot. I mean, it's good that they're doing that because there needs to be. I think it'll help a lot.
To not
with
wipe?
Bringing people, to not wipe, because when you bring new people in and you already have an established universe, that's what they can do in the beta is actually not move it forward in time, So just there's an established group of players who are already in the universe playing, and that'll make it a lot easier for new people to jump in because they have, there's already established groups and rivalries and factions and things that are happening in the universe, and makes it a lot more exciting for people to get in and do stuff.
I will play devil's advocate here. All right. What if I'm a new player, I'm checking out the game, I'm really excited, and I'm going to wait till beta's over so I can purchase it, and then I start the game up, and you all have been playing for 6 months, and you have all of your ships and everything. I am at a big disadvantage.
How is that any different from after the game has been running for a year and a new person starts? Whether they wipe it or not, in a year,
I want to start from the beginning. I want everyone to start on the same playing field as me.
Right, but then this is probably not the game for you, because if you want everyone to start on the same playing field, then you got to spend all the money to get all the ships to start on the same playing field as everyone else. I don't see a significance to a wipe after beta, and that's because this is not an experience/level-based game. I mean, the only experience that you'll have will be in your fingers and in your fucking head, and in what your clan and what your friends know. That's where the experience and skill will factor in. But in terms of, I have to level up, I have to kill X amount of creatures to hit the next level and unlock my next skill point, that doesn't exist here.
It doesn't exist.
So whether or not you're an ace pilot after 6 months of beta, or you come new into the game and it turns out you're an ace pilot then and start kicking ass and making lots of money that way, again, it comes down to your individual skill, and it has it has less to do with what happened in those 6 months. What will actually be a big bonus for a lot of people is that because the 6 months have passed and there's no wipe, there will be an established universe. There will be something that they come into having.
The economy will already be started.
Yeah, having this wealth of information, the balance will be there, and when the game starts, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be an absolute mess,
Absolutely.
and it's going to stay that way for 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. But at the end of the 4th week, you're going to have 10% of the individuals that got fucking rich, and then you're going to have 90% of the individuals that went, oh, okay, we did all right. And that's the way it's always going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the people that are saying they have to be there for an initial launch, if you've never been into a launch of an MMO, you just aren't missing much, because it's terrible. There's hardly any MMO or any game that comes out that works perfect from right off the bat.
Now, our side is a pretty good. Go ahead, Trendine.
I was going to say, to address Iron Man's the second facet of his question, that he's saying that if they don't do the 6-month wipe, then people have been exploring for this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us who want to be explorers, there will be nothing left. There will be plenty left.
Mm-hmm.
There will be everything left.
Because at the rate that we're going to have a whole lot of systems at it.
Right.
And
they're consistently adding and updating. That's the entire crux of his plan for content, is that every 2 weeks you start rolling out a little bit something new, and then you roll out systems like once a month. So there's always something new for new players. And
the other problem is if I know that if I fly 270 for 18 hours, I'll find this system. Well, they can wipe it out as much as they want, but it's going to be there when I come back again, unless they moved it.
270 will push you through Vandal space. Don't go that way.
Okay.
I'll go that way.
Okay, you go ahead and go that way.
He's got lots of pew-pew. Lots of pew-pew.
Definitely going that way.
All right. So that's it. I think we did it. We are going to make it today. 1 hour show. We're really pushing to try to make this. So we do want to find out what you guys like. If this is too short, let us know. We will be back again next week, of course, on Tuesday. And if enough of you said this is terrible, I want my full 4-hour show back.
More.
And we'll do a longer show
keep
again.
Going.
We could talk for hours. We have a bunch more questions here popping up right now, and we could keep talking, but we're trying to find out if this format works best. So
we started 5 minutes late. We still have 7 minutes if you want to do one more.
No, we already told them we're going to do it next week. Okay. So while in this time frame, though, Perfect Nerd, tell us about your channel. Tell us about your YouTube, all that stuff.
So you can follow me on Twitter at Perfekt Nerd. It's one word, spelled with a K. And I am at youtube.com/perfekt_SC. I will be doing Hearthstone content. I did record an arena run where I did pretty well with a priest. I don't know when I'm going to get that up. It's going to be a very busy next few months, unfortunately. Work-related stuff, life, all that kind of stuff. But I will post stuff irregularly for the next couple months, and then I'll probably start posting regularly.
Okay. Trendane, you're up. You're up, sir.
What's going on YouTube? If you're over on the Robert Space Industries site, go ahead and check out my I believe it's called Galactic Guide. My Voice is My Art which is to a search for my any post that I've done, and it's all my narrations of the Galactic Guide so far. And I believe his name is Noost. Is a guy who's just recently started putting this neat robofication on my my recording so that it sounds more like the male version of GLaDOS. It's actually kind of neat.
Could you real quick? Can you just tell me the link for that? I could play it for a second. It's on some kind of like SoundCloud kind of thing.
Yeah, it's SoundCloud. It'll take me a second to find it.
Yeah, see if we can find it, and we'll talk to Core for a second. We'll come back to you.
Go ahead, Core.
Yes. I am a Twitch streamer. You can find me on twitch.tv/CoreofexisteNz. The name is right there. That's what I usually do. However, due to me getting married on November 15th, it's a little bit difficult to make my make my allotted times. So right now I'm not streaming as much. Once Battlefield 4 comes out, I will be streaming some of that. And of course, once Dogfighting comes out, you'll see me every day.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So did you find that there, Trendane?
Yeah, I just put it in the Skype chat, and it's there. And
all right, so this is somebody roboficated Trendane's reading of which the system that we're listening to. Terra. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and play it.
The Terra system. Terra, shining jewel of the United Empire of Earth. Terra 3,
Someday.
commonly referred to by its star's name, has made many great strides towards becoming the cultural focus of the Empire. While die-hard Earth loyalists would dispute such a claim, there is no doubt that Terra has its finger on the pulse of the civilized galaxy.
Yeah, he's playing it right now.
From the increasing inflow of megacorporate HQs to the system, to the influence of Terra-originated music on popular culture, Terra is unquestionably the closest thing to a rival Earth has ever produced. History. The Terra...
All right. I'll stop it there.
yeah,
It's not really GLaDOS. It's kind of Battlestar Galactica. I don't know.
It's kind of cool.
It's
cool.
battle droid like, but I wouldn't say GLaDOS. GLaDOS had that really annoying condescension built into the accent.
I could do that. I just wouldn't.
Do it because that would give it a hook and that would make it better.
But that
And she
only
had
works
that
in your
cadence.
Moby-Glass. Yeah.
So I'm working on this right now with Trendane. I don't have any time right now to do this, but I would love to do this. This is a plan I'd like to do, is take Trendane's GLaDOS roboficated voice and put it into me actually flying around the system, like, because there's a couple of programs I have that can render space systems, and so I could put the planets pretty much where I think they belong, and we could just fly around and listen to it as he's doing it. We could just put it up on YouTube.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
So we're gonna try that out, but I'm so strapped for time right now. I don't have any time to do this kind of fun stuff.
And Trendane, if you can do the voiceover for my Moby Glass and Star Citizen and make it a condescending GLaDOS voice, I'd pay for that.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I'll just be flying around, and my Moby Glass will be telling me, "Yeah, you did not shoot that guy properly, did you? No,
You
no,
suck.
You suck. Why are you doing this? Quick, let's play a game."
All right, real quick. I'm Geekdomo, and this is my Twitch. Everybody who's watching right now, if you'd go ahead and follow us right now, you'll be able to get instantly updated when we're doing our show. We will be back next Tuesday for another Star Citizen podcast, and hopefully we'll have some more news, some more exciting stuff to talk about.
Bring your friends.
Bring your friends. This is number 6. We've been doing this for 6 weeks already. Can you believe it?
6
Very
weeks
cool.
and one special.
And everybody, make sure you check out Star Citizen Base, which is where we all belong. Do you belong over there, Trendane? Did you join up?
I don't know.
Don't. You have to take the test. It's a big process.
Is there math involved?
Lots of
I'm
math.
Oh,
It's
God.
math and yeah, there's
It's
a lot
bad.
of
Wind up
But we can help
pushing
you
a mop
cheat.
bucket on my.
Don't tell anybody. We'll help you cheat. All right. So thanks everybody for coming. Thank you guys tonight for another great show, and we will see you all next week. Until next time,